Hey guys, let's discuss today's set of questions. Here's the first one. This is about the Nobel Prizes. Whom the following persons has or have won the 2021 Nobel Prize for Medicine. Now, for what did they win? Of course, what's mentioned there, finding out discovering receptors for temperature and touch. The answers there, Julius and Pataputian have won the Nobel Prize. I would want you to write as to for what did they win this, and then we'll go on to discuss a few interesting facts about the Nobel Prize itself. Okay, please write. 2021 Nobel Prize for Medicine. Dash. Write the names of these two Americans. Yeah, David and Adam. Then now you write for figuring out how stimuli, STIMULI, how stimuli are converted into nerve impulses, how stimuli are converted into nerve stimulus, into nerve impulses, so that temperature and pressure can be perceived. Let me spell it for you. PERCEIVED. Perceived. Full stop. Their work explains how we interpret, let me repeat, their work explains how we interpret heat, touch, pain, pain, and location and movement of our bodies, 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 in space, called, this entire thing is called proprioception. I know it sounds a little weird also. You're right, I'll spell it for you. PRIOCEPTION. PRIOCEPTION. Okay. Proprioception. Well, the idea is that we always known as to what you see. We have the senses that when I pinch myself, I feel some pain or some impulse goes to the to the brain. That look, this is pain. It tells me it's pain kind of thing. When we put something hot on the skin, it burns. Now that entire thing, how do we perceive this is has been their lifetime work. Now this kind of discoveries would help us better understand pain, come up with better prognosis, diagnosis, and of course eventual treatment, especially of pain management. So you see, it's all fascinating. I mean, people spend their entire lives on things that sometimes we don't know what are they about. We have taken them for granted, but people are spending their entire life, their life work is related to what we have taken for granted. Yeah. So next is this question. Then I'll discuss the weird things about the Nobel Prize. Whom the following are the winners of because it's more than one, I'm going with that. The winners of the Nobel Prize for Physics 2021. Well, see, these are the guys, Parisi, Hasselmann, and Manabe. So Manabe's work, of course, America, is 90 years old, and think about it. I mean, 90 years old. People are still working hard. I think he works. He is a professor at Princeton University. Manabe's work showed how carbon dioxide and water vapor lead to global warming. Now people, discuss global warming as if it's, as if they were born to discuss it. Yeah, but for a long time we didn't know what was causing this global warming, and it is Manabe's work, Sukuro Manabe's work, that has brought us this understanding that it's carbon dioxide and water vapor that are, causing global warming, which eventually would which is heating up the earth, the world around us. The surface temperature is rising. As the surface temperature is rising, there is a lot of heat built up, okay, around us, and which of course has its own, brings its own problems, and especially given the fact that there is this heat build-up, and if it happens in the pole areas or ice cap areas, that would melt, that would melt the ice, especially permafrost, permanent frost, which also would lead to a rise in sea levels, and which destroy marine biodiversity, because in a lot of places, seawater is briny, salty, whereas fresh water, which is what ice caps have, they're all, what you call fresh water. It's not briny. You can't call it sweet water, of course. And this would damage when fresh water mixes with briny water, salty water, sea water. It leads to its own problems, especially for the lifestyle, for the different kinds of living creatures living in those areas. Plus sea levels rise as the ice caps melt, sea levels rise, which would inundate coastal areas. Places like Chennai would be underwater, and I'm not exaggerating, okay. Mumbai would be underwater. The whole country of Maldives would be underwater, because it's already, it's already the lowest country in the world by altitude. It's about 1.5 meters above sea level. That's the average height, average altitude. And what about small islands like Tonga, Nauru, and all? So this would have its own problems. So these are the guys who have come up with these various discoveries. Their works, have help us understand climate change better. If we understand them better, then we can come up with better models of forecasts, which will also help people manage their resources, their lives better. And of course, which will also help in policy making, better policy making. So why don't we write a little about, why don't we write a little about Nobel Prizes, who's won more and all that. So subheading Nobel Prize. Nobel Prize. Okay. By the way, I plan to discuss various kinds of banks, like scheduled banks. Why would you call one bank a scheduled bank? All this would come in the first session in next week, and a lot of theoretical stuff will also come in at the time. So this class would be a little different, would be a general class, very general, but the coming class would be very specific to regarding, most of the stuff would be specific to banking, okay, technical stuff. So please write now, Nobel Prize, underline that, first point. Youngest recipient. No, I'm not drinking any hot beverage or cold beverage, I'm drinking water in this. Youngest recipient dash Malala Yousafzai. Malala, M-A-L-A-L-A, Malala Yousafzai, Y-O-U-S-A-F-Z-A-I, Yousafzai. Yousafzai is actually a tribe. Malala Yousafzai dash 17, that's the age at which she received the Nobel Prize for Peace. 17, age 17 dash 2014 Peace Prize. 2014 Peace Prize, P-E-A-C-E, Peace Prize. Peace Prize. Okay, yeah. Next, Um, Oldest, yeah, now of course we should be writing oldest stuff. Oldest. Oldest dash John Goodenough. John, John, John Goodenough. Nice word, nice name actually. Good enough. Good is one word. Good enough is one word. Goodenough. Good enough dash. If you would want to know what countries, what places they belong to, Malala belonged to Pakistan. In the end, you could write Pakistan, maybe yes. Just below her name, write in brackets Pakistan. We were discussing John Goodenough. John Goodenough, American, of course. Why say of course? Because he was born there, of course. John Goodenough dash age 97 dash 2019 chemistry prize. 2019 chemistry prize. 2019 chemistry prize. Okay, leave one line space, right? Most prizes, subheading, most prizes. Underline that. First one, 3. So 3 times someone's won the Nobel Prize for Peace. 3 dash International Committee of Red Cross. International Committee of the Red Cross. ICRC. International Committee of the Red Cross dash 1917 Peace Prize in Peace Peace Prize in 1917 comma 1944 1944 and 1963. So Peace Prize, thrice it has won the Peace Prize. Now you know that it works in conflict, especially in conflict-ridden areas. They bring humanitarian aid, especially medical aid and all. See the first 1917, First World War years. 1944, Second World War years. 1963, we should know it was a centenary, 100th anniversary, of the establishment of the ICRC. The ICRC was established in 1863. So 1963, 100th anniversary. Okay. I would want you to write something more here. Leave one line space, right? Two prizes in 2 different categories. 2 prizes in 2 different categories. Dash 1 Marie Curie, Marie, you can say Marie also, no harm. Marie, Marie Curie, Curie. I repeat, Marie, Marie Curie, Curie dash physics in 1903, physics in 1903, and chemistry in 1911, 1911. Second one, Linus Pauling, Linus, Linus, Linus Pauling, Pauling, Linus Pauling dash Physics in 1954. Physics in 1954. And peace, P-E-A-C-E, peace in 1962. He was an anti-nuclear bomb, nuclear weapons advocate. And that's what he got him the Nobel Prize for Peace in 1962. Okay? You could do one thing. There are 3 more persons who have won 2 Nobel Prizes, but in the same category. So what we have written till now, youngest, oldest. You've written the names of the 3-time prize winner. You also written the names of 2-time winners in 2 different categories. Now you write, leave 1 line space, right? 2 prizes in same category. 2 prizes in same category. I like to share such things because often you would not find this in most places in one place. Most places in one place. Like, you go to a particular website, you go to any place, you journal, magazine, whatever, you won't find all of these in one place. So the notes that you have, my friends, you could, is pretty important. So write 2 prizes in the same category. Underline that. First one, John Bardeen, John, J-O-H-N, John Bardeen, B-A-R-D-E-E-N. I repeat, B-A-R-D-E-E-N, John Bardeen dash physics in 1956 and 1972. Physics in 1956 and 1972. So the first time he won in 1956, second time in the same category won 16 years later. Okay, next, Frederick Sanger, second name, Frederick or Fred is fine. Fred, F-R-E-D, Fred Sanger, S-A-N-G-E-R, Sanger, Fred Sanger dash chemistry in 1958 and 1980, 22 years later. Third name, Office of the UN High Commissioner, UN High Commissioner for refugees, R-E-F-U-G-E-E-S, refugees dash peace, P-E-A-C-E, peace 1954 and 1981, 54 and 81. So that's it. This pretty good information, guys. So in one place you got everything there. Next one. Who among the following was officially elected Japan's 100th Prime Minister after winning a majority of votes in both houses of Parliament? Fumio Kishida. You see the name there, second name, Yoshihide Suga. That's a guy who is the current Prime Minister. He's just, in fact, he's the previous Prime Minister. He's just made way for Kishida. Now, Suga lost, the confidence of his party, Japan, it's called the Liberal Party, because of the mishandling of the COVID pandemic. Even today, Japan is under considerable lockdown in some parts. Okay, there are emergency provisions in certain parts of Japan. And it doesn't help that the Japanese society is aging, so complications are manifold. Okay, so you could write about Japan. I'll give you some notes on Japan. Please write Japan. Underline that. First point. Tokyo, capital is Tokyo. Um, Prime Minister, right? Fumio Kishida. Fumio Kishida. And then you write third point. Oldest continuous monarchy, oldest continuous monarchy in the world. Oldest continuous monarchy in the world. Dash. From 600 BC. 600 years before Christ. Even before 600 years, even before Christ was born. It was then the monarchy started. This is the same monarchy house. Next. Emperor Naruhito. That's the name of the emperor. Emperor Naruhito. 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 Sits on the chrysanthemum throne. Chrysanthemum. CHRYSANTHEMUM. Chrysanthemum throne. 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 Chrysanthemum throne. The name of the throne is chrysanthemum. Okay. So next. See, Japan has considerable economic wealth. It's, you could write, third biggest economy by GDP. Third biggest economy by GDP. And if you do not know, Japan, my friends, has more than 6,800 islands. You could write this. Comprises more than 6,000 islands. It's an island country. 6,800 islands. Now there are what we say, 5 major islands: Honshu, Hokkaido, Kyushu, Shikoku, and Okinawa. See, I spent considerable amount of time learning these kinds of things because apart from the office work that we have, we also have to teach. I also am a teacher, isn't it? So for you, I'm a teacher, and if I don't give the right kind of information, it doesn't make sense. Japan has had a very tough time with regard to its population because a substantially large proportion of its population is aging very fast. I mean, when I say aging fast, I'm saying that people are aging, and it doesn't help that the population birth rate is very low. It's one of the lowest in the world. Current, there is something called TFR, total fertility rate. That's the number of children born to a woman during a lifetime. So, population's replacement level is called stabilization rate is 2.1. That is, on an average, 2.1 babies should be born to a woman to keep the population stable. But in Japan, it is less than 1.4, which means that more people are leaving the labor force beyond age 16 and living longer, which is the average life expectancy is about 89 years. Okay, so people are living longer, but unfortunately, not many babies are coming into the workforce. I mean, not many babies are being born. So fewer babies being born would mean that fewer would join the labor force tomorrow. And that is going to push Japanese population of 12 crores. Now it's about 12.6 crore, 12.4 crore. It is likely to go down to 9.7 crore by 2050. And by 2090, it's likely to go down to about 4.8 crore. Because there aren't enough babies being born there. It's a bad time to be a pediatrician in Japan. It's a bad time to sell Pampers, Huggies, diapers and all that stuff. Okay, which of the following services were disrupted for 6 hours that affected millions of people across the world? Well, people went mad actually when these things were down. I mean, I didn't realize they were down because I wasn't using Facebook, Instagram. Though I came to realize this only when I was using WhatsApp, because most of us use WhatsApp, even if we don't use the other two. While we are there on the other two, the first two, the third one is everyday, is of everyday use. Now, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram all were down, and one, Facebook owns 2 and 3 also, Instagram and WhatsApp. So if you would want to write about Facebook, I can tell you something. Please write Facebook. I'm talking about Facebook Company Incorporated, okay? Facebook, underline that. Founded in 2014, in 2004, simply write, founded by Mark Zuckerberg, M-A-R-K, Mark Zuckerberg, Z-U-C-K-E-R-B-E-R-G, Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg, comma, Eduardo Saverin, E-D-U-A-R-D-O, Eduardo Saverin, S-A-V-E-R-I-N, Eduardo Saverin, comma, Andrew McCollum, Andrew, A-N-D-R-E-W, Andrew McCollum, M-C-C-O-L-L-U-M, McCollum, comma, Dustin Moskowitz, Dustin, D-U-S-T-I-N, Dustin Moskowitz, M-O-S-K-O-V-I-T-Z, Moskowitz, and Chris, C-H-R-I-S, Chris Hughes, H-U-G-H-E-S, okay, Chris Hughes. So these are the guys who started, Facebook. And if you want to know the initial years, what kind of cutthroat competition was there, the kind of stupid relationship these people had shared, the founders had shared with, especially Mark Zuckerberg. Then, if you want to find all these things, you should watch one film called The Social Network. The Social Network stars Eisenberg, Timberlake. I can tell you, it's one of the finest films you would ever watch, and you can watch this with your family. The Social Network. It goes extremely fast. There's no lag. I mean, it's not, there are no not our typical Indian films. Of course, these days we have very good Hindi films also, Telugu films, Malayali films and all. But in all, this particular film goes very fast. It's a very tight run. So watch this, The Social Network. See, if you don't understand English, you don't follow that accent, I'm saying, the American accent, no problem. Switch on the subtitles and watch. There's no harm in doing that. Yeah, our job is to understand, have fun. Nothing. I mean, it doesn't really matter. If we understand English, we don't understand that accent, which is okay. Would you want to know who founded your favorite messenger, WhatsApp? Please write the names of two guys. WhatsApp dash founded by Brian Acton. Brian, B-R-I-A-N. Brian Acton, A-C-T-O-N, Acton. Brian Acton and John Coombe, J-O-N, John Coombe, K-O-U-N, K-O-U-M, M for mango. Okay? Yeah. John Coombe. Well, now it's owned by these guys. And Instagram, as you know, the name comes from two separate words. Instant camera plus telegram. Instagram. This was founded by two guys, Kevin Systrom and Mike Grieger. Would you want to write? Just write. Instagram founded by Kevin Systrom, Kevin, Kevin Systrom, 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 Kevin Systrom, and Mike Grieger, Mike, M-I-K-E, Mike Grieger, K-R-I-E-G-E-R, Krieger, Mike Krieger. Okay, so now owned by these guys. Chalo, आगे चलता है. Which country will host its largest naval exercise named Milan 2020 early next year? Well, it will be held in February next year, and it will be held in Vishakhapatnam. You could write Milan 2022 dash Vishakhapatnam. Earlier it was held in Port Blair, but now, because large number of navies are coming in, like 46. Most of these countries are Indian Ocean littoral states, means states bordering the Indian coast, bordering the Indian Ocean. Then some countries from Southeast Asia, Indonesia, beyond that, Philippines, Malaysia, and all these countries. So the answer to this question, of course, is India, Vishakhapatnam. Okay. Would you want to know anything? There's hardly anything to discuss here. Let's get past this, my friends. Name the. It's been some time since we discussed Italy. Please write Italy. Italy. You can say Italy also. No harm. Dash Rome. Capital is Rome. R-O-M-E. Rome. Dash PM Mario or Mario, M-A-R-I-O, Mario Draghi, D-R-A-G-H-I, Mario Draghi, Mario Draghi. Mario Draghi. The currency is euro. Currency is euro. Australia we discussed in the last class, and Indonesia is something that you're quite familiar with. But just write a couple of points about Indonesia, same style. Indonesia's capital, Jakarta, J-A-K-A-R-T-A, Jakarta. Dash. President Joko Widodo, J-O-K-O, Joko Widodo, W-I-D-O-D-O. W-I-D-O-D-O, Widodo. And what's the currency? Rupiah, R-U-P-I-A-H, Rupiah. R-U-P-I-A-H, Rupiah. Okay. You could also write something different about Indonesia. You could write world's largest archipelago. World's largest archipelago, A-R-C-H-I-P-E-L-A-G-O, archipelago, world's largest archipelago. And if you're not greatly familiar with this word, it means group of islands. Group of islands. In brackets, you could write group of islands, I-S-L-A-N-D-S, islands. Dash, about 13,000 islands. It's actually 16,000 plus, right? 13,000 islands. Okay. Name the joint military exercise recently held between the armies and armies of India and Nepal in Uttarakhand's Pithoragarh. Suryakiran. Suryakiran is with Nepal. Remember this. Yudh Abhyas and Vajra Prahar. So 1 and 4 are with the US. Yudh Abhyas and Vajra Prahar exercises are with the US. US Defense Forces. Mitra Shakti, Sri Lanka. Mitra Shakti, Sri Lanka. Just Shakti exercise with France. 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 Since it's a little about military exercises, I'll give you some dope on the military chiefs of India. Okay? Just write this, please. Chief of Defense Staff. Chief of Defense Staff. Dash. Bipin Rawat. General Bipin Rawat. BIPIN. Bipin Rawat. 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 Bipin Rawat. Bipin Rawat. Okay. Next. Chief of Army Staff. Army. ARMY. Army Staff. Dash. Chief of Army Staff. Dash. What's his name? Manoj Mukund Naravane. Manoj Mukund Naravane. 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 Next. Chief of Air Staff. Air. AIR. Air Staff. So the Indian Air Force Chief is Vivek Ram Chaudhary. Vivek Ram Chaudhary. Vivek Ram Chaudhary. Next. Vivek Ram Chaudhary. He's a new guy. He became the air chief on September 30th. He succeeded Rakesh Kumar Singh Bhadauria. And the last one, Chief of Naval Staff. Chief of Naval Staff. Dash. Admiral Karambir Singh. Karambir Singh. KARAMBIR. Karambir Singh. The Pandora Papers were a leak of almost 12 million documents that reveal hidden wealth, tax avoidance, and money laundering by some of the world's rich and powerful people. Richest and powerful people, most powerful people. These Pandora Papers have been documented and published by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. Before I tell you about this organization, I want you to know that the word Pandora is of Greek origin. Pan means all, dog, basically. See, the story goes, let's say someone was given, I will not get deeper into this because earlier I had taught English vocab, so I know the story, but it won't help you. So someone was given a box and was told that you should not open the box. If you would open the box, all the ills of mankind would come out and all that. But curiosity got the better of this person and the person opened it, and that is how the box, when the box was opened, all the curses, all the sufferings of mankind which are hidden in this box came out, and that is what are causing trouble to us today. Yeah? So, Pandora, a box containing secrets, curses, sharp, you could say. So, I mean, look, multiple kinds of these kinds of papers have come in the past. Panama Papers, before that, Paradise Papers. Not much has happened. The rich and powerful get away because they are precisely that. That is, rich and powerful. They're way too powerful, my friends. They run the show. They control media. They control public opinion. And they control levers of power. So there's pretty little that would ever happen to them. Okay. You write this, International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. Underline that, first point. Established 1997. Established 1997. Next, head office. Head office. Washington DC. Washington DC. Washington DC. Next. Director Gerard. Gerard. People often say Gerard, 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 Ryle, R-Y-L-E, R-Y-L-E, in brackets, Irish Australian, that is, he has dual citizenship, that is, of Ireland and Australia. Okay, I-R-E-L-A-N-D, Ireland and Australia. Next, organization was founded, or you could write say ICIJ was founded by Charles Lewis, L-E-W-I-S, Lewis, Charles Lewis. Is from the US. Chaliye, before we, I don't think we should write. Chalo, we'll write about first choice. International Court of Justice. International Court of Justice. Underline that first point. Established 1945. Established 1945. Second point. One of six principal organs. Six principal organs of the United Nations. Of the United Nations. Of the United Nations. Next point. Head office. The Hague, H-A-G-U-E, H-A-G-U-E, Hague. You know, it's in the country of Netherlands. Netherlands, N-E-T-H-E-R-L-A-N-D-S, Netherlands. Netherlands. Last one. President. See, it has 15 members elected for a 9-year term, and the president currently is Juan Donoghue. I'll spell it. J-O-A-N. J-O-A-N. Juan Donoghue. D-O-N-O-G-H-U-E. It's of Spanish origin, so you say Juan instead of say Joan. Juan is from the US, United States, in brackets US. Shelley. Which the following is the world's first DNA-based needle-free COVID-19 vaccine that is administered with a disposable needle-free injector? Kids will be happy. A lot of people will be happy because people don't like injections. Well, it's made by Jydus Cadila. You could write this. Jydus, J-Y-D-U-S. Jydus Cadila, C-A-D-I-L-A. Cadila. Jydus Cadila dash chairman Pankaj Patel. You know what's a fear of needles called? Injections. Like this. This is a nice word to learn. Yeah. Trypanophobia. I know. Trypanophobia. Trypanophobia. Next. See, if you don't like injections, you can also call it belinophobia. B-E-L-O-N-E. Belinophobia. But belinophobia is fear of any sharp object. Like it could be a sharp knife also. But specific to injections, needles, it's trypanophobia. Okay. Some people have fear of heights. That's called acrophobia. A-C-R-O, acrophobia. People have fear of number 13, triskaidekaphobia. You name a thing, there is a weird fear for everything. Fear of dogs, cynophobia. Oh, a lot of people are scared of dogs. Of course, there are people who love dogs. Yeah. Which bank has recently signed an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with 3 housing finance companies, namely India Bulls Housing Finance, India Bulls Commercial Credit, and Indian IFL, IndiaInfoline.com, Jamane mein thi. Now it's called IIFL Home Finance, to co-originate loans to priority sectors. Not priority sectors would be export, education, poorer sections, all, whatever designated as priority sectors. So lower class, if you are talking of housing, priority sector would be the marginalized people. We are talking of people who live in the margins of the society, the vulnerable, socially vulnerable, economically vulnerable. Yeah. So who are the chiefs of these banks? Indian Bank has a new CEO, Shantilal Jain. Shantilal Jain. Shantilal Jain. So Yes Bank, Prashant Kumar. Prashant Kumar. ICICI Bank, Sandeep Bakshi. Sandeep Bakshi. Sandeep Bakshi. Axis Bank, Amitabh Chaudhary. Amitabh Chaudhary. Amitabh Chaudhary. Which nation has won the 2021 FIDE World Women's Team Chess Championship? Well, US did. You just write this particular line: 2021 Women's Chess World Cup. Women's Chess World Cup. Women's Chess World Cup. Underline that first point. Venue. Where was it held? Sitges. S-I-T-G-E-S. I repeat. S-I-T-G-E-S. Sitges, comma, Spain. It's a small town in Spain. S-P-A-I-N. Spain. Next, winner. Russia. R-U-S-S-I-A. Russia. That's how you say it. Russia, not Russia. Iya nahi hota. A hota hai. Russia. Next, runner up. India. Runner up, India. Dash. First ever medal at World Championship. First ever Indian medal at World Championship. So normally, I would not discuss countries here, especially because it's a sport base. But in case we have time, I'll come back to this, and I'm writing here that we will discuss Norway and what is it? Turkey. In case we have time, because it would take some time. Chaliye. Which nation has recently hosted the world's largest virtual fintech financial technologies summit, named the Global Fintech Summit? Fintech Fest. It is India. There was a theme for this particular event, which brought together, it was a virtual event, it brought together people with on the government side, policy making side, people on the business side, people on the technology side. So how to bring all this together and make life easier for the common person is what more or less the theme was. So the theme you write, Fintech, Global Fintech 2021 theme, THEME theme, dash empowering, EMPOERING, empowering a global digital economy, a global digital economy, global digital economy. Okay, fair. The 8th edition of the joint military exercise named Mitra Shakti, we discussed this, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka. Okay, Sri Lanka, we could do one thing here. We could just write the name of the port they are coming up with. Adani port as you could write Sri Lanka dash Adani Ports. Adani Ports. The name of the company is Adani Ports in Special Economic Zone. You write Adani Ports has entered into a joint venture. Has entered a joint venture with the Sri Lankan Port Authority, the Sri Lankan Port Authority, and John Keels, KEELLS, John Keels, a private shipping company. A private shipping company in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka. It's been some days since we wrote a little about these choices. Shall we write a little about these choices? Sri Lanka, anyway, chalo likhte hain, pura likhte hain. Sri Lanka dash Colombo, and there are two capitals, and Sri Jayavardhane Pure Kotte. Sri Jayavardhane Pure, let me spell it for you. JAYAVardhanepure, Jayavardhane Pure Kotte, KOTTE, Kotte. Jayavardhane Pure Kotte. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Gotabaya, 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 Gotabaya Rajapaksa, RAJAPAKSA, Rajapaksa. Next, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, MAHINDA, Mahinda Rajapaksa, Mahinda Rajapaksa. Currency Sri Lankan rupee, Sri Lankan rupee, Sri Lankan rupee. Okay. Next, Bhutan, Thimphu, THIMPU, capital Thimphu, THIMPU, Thimphu, dash, it is a constitutional monarchy. They have a king, Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk, but we'll write the name of the Prime Minister. Okay. Lotte sharing, Lotte, LOTAY, Lotte sharing, TSHERING, Lotte sharing. Okay. Next, currency is Gultrum, NGULTRUM, Gultrum. Okay. Maldives, leave one nice space, right? Maldives, dash, capital Male, 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 Male dash President Ibrahim Mohammed Soleh. Ibrahim Mohammed Soleh, SOLEH, Soleh. Next, currency Rufia, RUFIYAA, Rufia. Leave one line space, right? Myanmar. Capital Naypyidaw, NAYPYIDAW. I repeat, NAYPYIDAW, Naypyidaw. Right. Military leader. That's the leader. There is no president now. It's military government. Military leader. Min, 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 one word. Second, Ong, AUNG, Ong, Min Ong. Third word, Liang, HLAING, Liang. Currency is Kyat, KYAT, Kyat. Last point, Nepal. Dash, capital Kathmandu, KATHMANDU, Kathmandu. Dash, Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba, DEUBA, Deuba. Currency is Nepali rupee. The International Day of Non-Violence is observed on the 2nd of October. 2nd of October, we know this. It's a birthday of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, also called Mahatma Gandhi. Why don't we write a little about some of these choices, if not all? Right. First October, will come in the order. 1st October, International Day of the elderly, ELDERLY, elderly. Second is International Day of Non-Violence. Nothing specific about 3rd October. But 4th October, you write, 4th October, World Animal Welfare Day. World Animal Welfare Day. Animal Welfare Day. Next, first Monday of October, dash, World Habitat Day. It's mentioned 4th October twice here. Choices 1 and 4. Ignore it. Okay. Is there anything there? One last step. October 8th. Indian Air Force Day. DAY Day. Maybe after the first week, I wanted to stop at 7th the first week. Then maybe next class we'll discuss, but we'll discuss the 8th one also. Whom of the following persons have been chosen as recipients of its 2021 Global Leadership Award by the US India Business Council? This is Mallika Srinivasan and Shivnadar here. Mallika Srinivasan, you could write, is CMD, chairman or chairperson and managing director of TAFE, write in capital letters, TAFE, TAFE, in brackets, tractors and farm equipment limited, It's a massive company, over 12,000 crore company. Then, yeah, she is also, right, also chairperson of Public Enterprises Selection Board. Also chairperson of Public Enterprises Selection Board. She studied at University of Madras Christian College. She was mathematics graduate, and then she did her MBA from Wharton School of Management. This Shivnath, Chairman Emeritus, you could write Chairman Emeritus, EMERITUS, Chairman Emeritus of HCL, Hindustan Computers Limited, HCL, Hindustan Computers Limited. Hindustan Computers Limited. You could write dash, also called father of India's computer industry. Next. In a historic first, which country has launched an actor and a film director into space to make a feature film in orbit? Russia. Russia launched this spacecraft Soyuz M19, I think, from its. It doesn't have a space launch center of its own, but it uses the facility in Kazakhstan. There is a place called Baikonur. What is it? Baikonur. And you know who is this lady? She is the film star who was sent into space. You want to write her name? You write Russia dash film shooting in space dash film titled challenge film titled challenge dash actor named Yulia Perislid. I spell Y-U-L-I-A, Yulia, Y-U-L-I-A, Yulia Perislid, P-E-R-E-S-L-I-D, Perislid. And director Klim Shipanko. Okay. K-L-I-M, Klim Shipanko, S-H-I-P-E-N-K-O, Shipanko dash spacecraft named Soyuz, S-O-Y-U-Z, Soyuz MS-19, MS-19, 19. So what is the story? Why would they go up? So I read this story. It's like, this Yulia is a doctor, and she has to go to the International Space Station primarily to perform an emergency surgery on one of the astronauts who is struggling for life. It's an emergency service, emergency surgery. Amazing thing people come up with, isn't it? According to the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Good Samaritans who rescue victims of serious road accidents and rush them to a hospital within the golden hour, the first hour, critically, which is very critical, will now be rewarded with 5,000 rupees. Well, you need to understand that in India, in majority of the world, major parts of the world, people are afraid to carry the injured to the hospital, to take them to hospital because of legal issues. You saw an accident, I take someone and they say that, okay, what did you see? And they'll make me run around the police station and all that stuff. So, but then things are changing these days, things are changing. Emergency services have improved in India, yeah. And now the government is incentivizing such good behavior also, which is a nice thing actually. And who is the minister, Union Minister of Road Transport and Highways? Nitin Gadkari. Nitin Gadkari is the minister of, you could write, Union Minister of Road Transport and Highways. Road Transport and Highways. Road Transport and Highways. Okay, yeah. Which iconic Indian superhero has been declared mascot of the Namami Gange program? Cleaning the Ganga and all that program. Chacha Chaudhary. That's Chacha Chaudhary, my friends. You could write just one thing about who is this guy. Chacha Chaudhary dash created by Pran Kumar Sharma. Pran, P-R-A-N, Pran Kumar Sharma. In 1971. 1971. See, this is Chacha Chaudhary. People like me grew up with this guy in the 80s. He came in 71, of course, I was not born then. But 80s and 90s, we used to read this comics like Lodport and all that. And as part of Lodport, he used to come and they made a separate comic because once he became super popular. He became more popular than Lodport. Okay. He has his wife, Bini, and she's Dharmagan. She gets pretty angry sometimes. He has a Rocket, a small dog named Rocket. That's why I said he has a Rocket. He has a small dog named Rocket, and the most weird thing back in those days was having an alien in his home who was gigantic, huge. He was very super tall, and his name was Sabu, who had come from Jupiter. Sabu, okay, had come from Jupiter. Yes. Blue colored guy, Sabu. Some comics blue, some comics normal color. Skin color. Awesome, Chacha Chaudhary. And there used to be this saying, Chacha Chaudhary, jinka dimag computer se bhi tej daudta hai. Yeah. It's fun to read comics. I read comics every day, every single day, because it loosens up, stress goes down. And if you really want to improve your conversational English, and this is one major method I suggest, that if you really want to improve your conversational English skills, read comics. Tinkle, Chacha Chaudhary, Champak, Gokulam, Chandamama, but in English. Okay. These kinds of books have stories have characters have conversations, and when they communicate with each other, they use pretty simple English. And that's the kind of language we are looking for. That's what you would find in these kinds of books. Very, very good way of improving things. See, comics are for everyone. See, if you say that no, comics are for kids, then why do you go to watch Superman movies, Batman movies and all? They're all comic heroes, no? Smriti Mandana here. Extremely talented woman, cricketer. Whom in the following has become the first Indian woman cricketer to score a test 100 on Australian soil. That's Smriti. Smriti, my friends, recently scored a 100 in the pink ball one test match against Australia in a place called Gold Coast. What is that? Gold Coast. Gold Coast, Australia. First Indian cricketer to score a test 100. She's an opener, and even as an opener, her test averages are phenomenal. She has a test average of about 46, a little over 46, and as an opener, as a one-day opener, her average is over 41. See, for averages decrease when you get out, and she has been so prolific, so good with the bat, that she's had this fantastic average of over 46 in test matches and over 41 in ODI cricket. Yeah. Multiple times she has won Player of the Year in India as well as the ICC also. Hard work pays off. You have to work hard, be passionate. That's something pretty important, my friends. The Government of India has appointed Dash as Director of the CBI. Well, it is Subodh Kumar Jaiswal. Subodh Kumar Jaiswal. What about these guys here? Look at Kumar Rajesh Chandra. I think he is the Director General of the Sashastra Seema Bal. Sashastra. SASAHTRA. Yeah. Sashastra Seema Bal. VSK Kaumudi is an IAS officer, and currently he is a secretary in the, don't write this, in the Secretary for Internal Affairs in the Ministry of Home Affairs. Don't write that. I think Kaumudi is an IPS, yeah, I guess IPS officer. Kuldeep Singh, you could write this, DG, Director General of CRPF, Director General of Central Reserve Police Force, Central Reserve Police Force. Then Rakesh Asthana, Commissioner of Delhi Police. Commissioner of Delhi Police. Someone challenged that this appointment is illegal. So High Court today found that the appointment is legal. The temples of Kanchipuram, one of the 6 sites included in UNESCO's tentative list of World Heritage Sites, are in Tamil Nadu. Look at the grand temple. Imagination, stiff cut. Imagination, and then giving form to that imagination. Imagine what kind of skill these guys must have had. And they have stood for hundreds of years. Some architecture, some skill, isn't it? This is the Kailashnathar temple in Kanchi. I want you to write just one thing, right? Kailashnathar temple. Kailashnath, you could write Nath, N-A-T-H, then A-R, Kailashnathar temple in Kanchipuram, dash, built by Pallava rulers around 700 AD. Around 700 AD. 700 AD. 700 years after Jesus was born. 1400 years or 1300 years old. Next. Specific, if you want to, who built it, right? Specific. Built by Raja Narsimha. Rajasimha. Built by Rajasimha Narasimha Varman II. Rajasimha Narasimha Varman, Roman numeral 2. Okay. Next, dedicated to, last point, dedicated to Bhagwan Shiva. Kailashnath, na? Lord of Kailash. Next. I'm fascinated with all these things, my friends. Fascinated by and with both. The selling of insurance products and bank services, services by banks is called bank assurance. Bank plus insurance is bank assurance. Okay. A lot of banks these days sell, and every time they sell a policy on behalf of the bank, behalf of an insurance company, they get a commission. They get a commission. So it's basically extra source of income for a bank. Okay. Yeah. The Great Himalayan National Park is in Himachal Pradesh. This is spread across 1171 square kilometers. 1171 square kilometers. And you could write this: declared UNESCO World Heritage Site. UNESCO World Heritage Site, site in 2014. 2014. Hmm? 2014. Okay. One national park in each of these places. Let's finish this. Uttarakhand, Corbett National Park. Corbett, Corbett. Corbett National Park. Corbett National Park. Dash. India's oldest national park. India's oldest national park. India's oldest national park. Jammu and Kashmir, you could write Dachigam. Dachigam National Park. I'll spell it. Dachigam. Dachigam National Park. Dash. Only place where Kashmiri stag deer. Kashmiri stag is found. STAG. Kashmiri stag is found. Next. Assam. Manas National Park. Manas, MANAS. Manas National Park. Manas National Park. Next. Arunachal Pradesh. Nam Dhapa National Park. Nam Dhapa. NAMDHAPHA. Nam Dhapa National Park. Dash. India's easternmost national park. India's easternmost national park. Okay. India has attracted the highest ever FDI total inflow of $81 billion during the last financial year. Which country is at the apex place in the top investor countries? So, ladies and gentlemen, I have this list. I obviously wouldn't remember all these things. It's difficult to remember data. So, if you excuse me, I would just read this from here. Okay. Only for this, I have this sheet here because I found it difficult I didn't want to give you incorrect information. Sometimes the numbers get jumbled. Other things are easy to remember, but this kind of stuff is always tough. So, you could write total FDI. Write this. Total FDI in financial year 2021 dash $81 billion. See, if you go to the Government of India's DGFT website, you would not find that number. You would find $59 billion. I'll have to double check again. Yeah, double check. I'll check that. I'll do that right after this. Okay. And below that, you write top 5 investors in India. Top 5 investors in India. Top 5 investors in India. Underline that. Right. 1. Singapore. $17.4 billion. $17.4 billion. $17.4 billion. So $1 billion would be common, so you can put detail marks. Second rank, US, 13.8. 13.8. Next, Mauritius, The names are misspelled there. Look at choice 2. Mauritius, $5.6 billion. $5.6 billion. I'm reading because I want to be honest with you. And it's easy to be honest, isn't it? 4. UAE, that's there in the 4th place actually. UAE, 4th place, $4.2 billion. 5th place, you see there in the choices there, 5th place, yeah. Cayman Islands, $2.8 billion. $2.8 billion. $2.8 billion. $2.8 billion, my friends, would make it come up in the 5th place. Where is Cayman Islands? Well, it is a British overseas territory. It's owned by Britain, but it's in the West Indies. It's located in the West Indies. You could write dash Britain overseas or British overseas territories. British overseas territory dash located in the Caribbean Sea. Located in the Caribbean Sea. Caribbean. Caribbean Sea. Okay. So I gave you, it's one of those rare things when I read something, but then I had to read. That's about it. Thank you for being here. And so given that it's been 1.5 hours, I really can't spend time on Norway and Turkey now, maybe in the next session. Thank you for being here. Have a lot of fun. Stay curious.